All right, I'm so excited today, and the excitement is not over yet. After our Nigerian Super Eagles won their match, oh my God. Do you know what happened? It was a surprise before they even got into the penalty shootout. Well, welcome to Sport Rush. Today it's a beautiful day, and I am right here. My name is MC Ramsey with Jesse number 10 at the middle of the game to bring you what we have today from the world of sport. Thank God it is Friday TGIF edition of Sport Rush. It's so wonderful. And today, as usual, Fridays I used to have my guest in the studio. Today I have a different guest that you've not seen on the show before, and I have Fred Ugbole right here today. He is my guest. He's a sport analyst, and he's going to do justice to what we have to talk about today. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, sir.
Well, Fred, actually, someone is saying, I'm seeing Fred Mind. Yeah, you can also call him Fred Mind. Fred, let's look at the Super Eagles performance from the African Cup of Nations. A lot of people never expected that. Some persons thought that game was going to end 1-0 because it got almost to the 89th minute before the equalizer came in. Were you expecting that equalizer, looking at what the Bafana of South Africa were playing?
Now, when you look at Nigeria versus South Africa game, it was a game that everyone that participated in watching that game will see that the atmosphere was tensed. Everybody, as people who are not even used to watching football before, I've gone through a lot of tension that very day. But some of us who are very good with watching football, all I did was to shift my seat from people that were literally almost dragging my clothes for every opportunity they have. I just have to sit down and face the television, and I enjoy the remaining part of the game. But one thing we can't take out is the game. There was so much tension because of the way the game went. Now, from 1-0 to 2-0 and coming back to 1-1 in the twinkle of an eye, it was so much of a
then before you knew it's penalty came
before you know the penalty, and
after additional time.
Yes, considering the penalty again, a match before that, the keeper had already set a record of 4 penalty in a game, and it is one thing that we need to loud and raise so much ovation about. Now, that record has not been set by any keeper in any major
Which of the goalkeeper are you talking about? Are you talking about
South
Williams
keeper,
Williams?
Yes, Williams. Yeah, he has already saved 4 penalties in the last match. So we already had so much fear that I was going to save all the penalties of Nigerian players. But it was fortunate for us that our own Stanley, the man of the moment,
Is my man.
The man that all ladies want to marry right now.
Yeah, I saw someone today. Someone said, well, I never knew how I would have disclosed it, but then I've been keeping quiet for a long. Let me just introduce my boyfriend. I was like, I see Nigerians.
I've seen a lot of ladies that make their pictures with him. One even went viral on Twitter.
But he's married. You guys should be careful. He's married. Okay,
and
the wife shouldn't see that.
But it's common with Nigerian.
It's part of the excitement. Yeah.
For me, as a historian, when the last goalkeeper we had, Nduka, came, Nduka was ladies' choice. Everybody was gushing on him and all of that. Nduka's time has come and gone. It's now in Wabali. They will still go and rest very soon. So, but the performance of the guy has been outstanding. We can't take that away from him. His passion, his saves, his commitment, his moves, his composure.
I think I like
all those things have been very strategic. If you look at one of the saves during South African match, you could see how he strategically took one step before he dived. If not, that ball would have been a goal. The shot from the South African number 9, and that guy was a very good sharpshooter. But thank God we had Nwabali. He was just a savior and also came to penalty and saved 2 penalties. And awesomely, we won the match.
Awesomely, we won the match. And that is exactly what Nigerians were expecting. But I never knew Nigerians love the Super Eagles this much. Or is it because they won that game? Well, that's a question for you to answer. Is it because they won the game? Because I have seen a lot of celebrations on the social media. A lot of people saying, hey, Wabali, trust Ekong, but then Olai not threw away his penalty, but that was a very good kick anyway, even though it went away. We're not talking about that now. All right, on the whole, the celebration was on a top gear as the Super Eagles proceed to the finals of the African Cup of Nations, and they will be holding it down with one country that they've played with earlier, and that is, of course, Ivory Coast. And one thing is that Ivory Coast is the host nation, is the host country, and of course, home advantage is something you can take away. Let's look at that game right now. I'm looking at the squad that we have. You've watched Nigeria and Ivory Coast played once. We won that game, and I don't know. The Super Eagles, something happened. I was telling someone, I said, in almost all our games, it was just a narrow escape into the next game, the next stage, and all of that 1-0 draw and all of that. And even Cote d'Ivoire, that we defeated 1-0, are now coming to play the finals with us. So there is something tricky about this game. So what are you thinking for the game between the Super Eagles and, of course,
now,
South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, beg your pardon.
Generally, for me,
Ivory
this
Coast
is one of my best AFCON tournaments because the officiating has been excellent. I will give that to
somebody
them.
said something about the officiating.
Yeah, I'll give that to them. The officiating has been excellent.
Very excellent.
In Premier League, we struggle a lot with VAR. They have made VAR so simple and straightforward in this tournament, and he has given us a belief that
he's saying VAR. He's saying VAR. It's not talking about Valentine. He's talking about video assistant referee. So that one that the referee will do like this and go and watch that television and come and say.
So one thing we can take from this AFCON is it has been top notch. The preparation has been excellent, and there's another thing again we can't take away. The tournament has been unscripted. It means that we've been having breathtaking experiences. We'll be having shocks at every stage. You can't predict the next game until the game comes, right? You'll be having games where DR Congo coming from 1-0 going down to 3-1 to win the match. You'll be having where Equatorial Guinea player who serve as a Division 2 defender in Spain coming to be the highest scorer of the tournament, and a lot of things. So going into final, we have Ivory Coast against we have Nigeria against Ivory Coast, and Ivory Coast qualify from third. Nigeria and Ivory Coast played from Group A. So two Group A people coming back to meet at the final. And the two Group A people were second and third, not even first. Coming to also play at the final and
that
playing against...
That's one tricky thing about this African Cup of Nations.
Playing against the host team, which of course they have all the advantage in terms of the applause, the fans, the celebration and all of that. But another thing about Nigeria is that we have a very solid defense. Right, so if you can leverage on that solid defense and also leverage on our usual formula that we maintain for this tournament, if I don't score you, you don't score me, right? It means that with that particular policy, we can bring the cup back home. Right?
With that particular policy, we can bring the cup back home. Yes. We're talking about $7 million here. That is like neighborhood of let me do the mathematics. 8.9 billion naira. Yeah, if you convert it to naira. All right. So now, before we go on break, what do you think? Do you see this trophy and this money coming to Nigeria? See, Shetima, the vice president, went to watch that match, and the Senate president, Ogun State governor, and a lot of people, we even had, may they also rest in peace, some other persons who actually watched that match. Some lost their life. There was a report. May they also actually rest in peace. The cause of their death, well, it's not something to talk about right here now. What do you think about this game? Do you think, are you giving it to Nigeria or you want to give it to Ivory Coast?
Now, when it comes to football, for me, my usual comment, I usually let's wait after 90 minutes. But there is so much hope. There is so much projections. There is so much predictions. There is so much excitement. There is so much enthusiasm ahead of the game. But I want to believe that Nigerians should not get so excited. Right, so that if we focus on the game, there is nothing that gives you result than focusing on the game. After 90 minutes, you can celebrate.
After 90 minutes,
we can celebrate.
Okay, what? Let me ask you this question. In style now, what do you think will happen
after night?
Pesero.
Currently, he has earned our trust. His performance so far has been outstanding. We've doubted him in the past, but that has passed. But right now, for him to have, because his contract, he promised to bring Nigeria to the semi-final.
And he did.
And he has exceeded
semi-finals. So, they've got into the final.
So if we have him in the final right now, it means that if he means...
His contract should be renewed?
Excellently. We don't need to negotiate it.
Pesero said, when I came in, I told NFF that, we will get to the semi-finals, we're going to bring home the cup. Even said they will bring home the cup. Now he's talking. The first time when game first start, he may do quiet. If you see him throughout this game, he has not sat. He's always standing. Hey, shh, shh. You know how you know how this coach is doing. He's been very fantastic on top of his game, on his feet all through, and now this is where Nigeria is able to reach in the African Cup of Nations final. That is the peak of the game. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return back again and we'll leave the shores of Africa and talk about things happening in Europe. Remember, Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi play for Leicester City, one of the European clubs. But then, will they continue in Leicester City or not? We'll let you know of that when we return from this break. My name is Ramsey, and it's been Fred Ogbole right here with me. We will be back after this break.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleket.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Well, it is still Sport Rush Live here, and I'm so excited. The excitement, you can take that away because that's what sport is all about. Sport ignites, sport unite, day and night. One of the most unifying factor is sport, and that's why I love sport, man. All right, let's get into what we want to talk about. I told you about Kelechi Iheanacho and, of course, Wilfred Ndidi, who played for Leicester City before we went on that break. I'm going to be asking Fred this question now. Well, there are contract is expiring in Leicester City, but then Leicester City's coach talking about Enzo says discussion over the future of the Nigerian duo of Wilfred Ndidi and Kelechi Iheanacho and other players, not just them, other players like Jamie Vardy and the rest of them, their contract is also expiring, but nothing has been said yet. This will also be put on hold until the Foxes confirm their immediate return to the Premier League. Would they return to the Premier League? That's a question that you need to answer. But then let's look at it. Wilfred Ndidi, Kelechi Iheanacho, and of course, we just want to talk about our own, but then they are not the only players. Jamie Vardy, Mark Breton, Jannik Verstegen, and even Dennis Brett all will also supposed to leave Leicester City because their contract is also expired. But then, let's talk about our own, like I said earlier. Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi. Unfortunately for Kelechi Iheanacho, he couldn't stay on top of his game in the African Cup of Nations, and you remember that is where the European clubs and clubs from Spain, Germany, and Italy get to pick players. But then the way it is, he is not so fantastic in the African Cup of Nations because of injury, even though he came in as a substitute at some point in time. Do you think they should continue in Leicester City or they should look for somewhere else to go at this point in time?
For me right now, I feel that Leicester City is just being logical because they just want to spend so much. Because right now, if you look at their current performance, they're on top of the league. They are 72 points in 30 games, and they are having 11-point gap from the second position. That's a lot of points. So it means that they already qualified to the Premier League, right? They are just being logical because most of these players that are up to renew their contract are old. Players like Vardy, players like Albrintham, they are old. They are literally at their retirement stages, right?
Jamie Vardy,
when you now look at all those players, more reasons they are just being logical because renewal of contract will bring in increment of wages, we either bring in negotiation of new wages and all of that. And one thing is also sure, when they qualify to Premier League, they need to spend more.
They need to spend more.
They need to spend more, right? They need to get other quality players to keep them in the league. Because one of the things that affected them is they were selling out players and they were not buying players.
So, and I don't think that is wise enough.
Down to relegation.
But that is not wise. You're selling players, you're not buying.
So I will also advise that if I'm opportune to advise them, the players they have right now, they keep them so that when they come into Premier League, the quality of these players have been able to outperform the Championship guys. We also do little in the Premier League while they gear up to buy more players. But renewing all their contract will not be wise. You can let the people that you feel their impact will be less felt in the next 1 year. Someone like Vardy is already a legend in the club, so you can literally give him that respect. Other players like that their contract has expired, you can let them go. For Ndidi and Iheanacho, which is our own, it's advisable that they look somewhere else.
They look somewhere else so that
because if they come back to Premier League right now, the competition is higher.
It's higher.
Yeah, and what they've played in the past might not be able to keep them up. And I don't know how fast they've been able to keep up with their games. And if you look at the previous matches they've played, Ndidi has had more playing time than Iheanacho. Put all these things into consideration, considering the playing time that Iheanacho has had in African Cup of Nations, is also consider why his contract needs to be renewed.
So, all right, okay. Let's move away from Leicester City right now and go to Chelsea. Well, as a matter of fact, I want to talk about Chelsea a little bit, Ben, because after their game with Aston Villa, their coach talking about Pochettino, he said Chelsea proved that they are united as they play ease the pressure on their manager by stunning Aston Villa in the FA Cup. Chelsea will now host Champions League United, in the 5th round. As a matter of fact, let's do an assessment of Chelsea. How is Chelsea? How are they doing? Their coach is proud that they won Aston Villa. What do you think?
There is one truth that Chelsea has not been able to accept. Is the truth that they have failed.
Chelsea? Did I hear you say Chelsea have failed?
Now, Chelsea has
Chelsea,
failed.
then say una don't fail. Una agree.
Now, and they have, let me drive down. They have failed because Chelsea that we know is no more performing at that current form. Now, what happened is that when a club falls so bad, you go and rebuild. You take out time, take out a year out, take out 2 years out, you build from
just
scratch.
Go and hibernate and build.
But what they want to do is they want to move from zero to hero back. It doesn't work like that, especially England, right? So they need to take out time to build on the culture of the club. Let players come back and carry the passion like the likes of Lampard, the likes of John Terry, the likes of Kalu, the likes of Didier Drogba. They could play out their soul for Chelsea. And those are the success they have been able to maintain down before that generation of Chelsea went off. Right? This current generation, we have little or no knowledge of people that are passionate about the club. That are not just playing beyond the money. Okay, Enzo came in with 106 million and all of that. A lot of players came in with big funds. None of those players have been able to live up to expectation.
Despite the fun.
None have been able to live up to expectations. None. Small clubs outplay them. So go back to the roots.
But they won Aston Villa.
Aston Villa just one match in 10 lose.
One match in 10 lose.
So many loses. You can't have to capitalize on
all right, let's move away from there.
10 position downward.
Let's move away from Chelsea now. Yes. Let's talk about Arsenal.
Okay.
All right, Arsenal is bidding for Victor Osimhen from Napoli. You know, Victor Osimhen's time is up in Napoli and he is about moving. But then not just Chelsea alone. Chelsea, Arsenal, Real Madrid, and other clubs. A lot of clubs are trying to come for him. Remember, he's the African Footballer of the Year. And what he has done in Napoli. It's no longer news that he is a star to watch out for in several clubs right now. Where do you think is better for Osimhen to move to? Chelsea, Real Madrid? Or you even want him not to go to England? You want him to go to Spain? Or you want him to go to Germany? Or you want him to go to Italy? What do you think is better for him now? Because he needs to sustain this glory and it's better to leave when the ovation is high.
Now, one thing about players that they need to also rethink critically, it's their ability to take good decisions when they are at their peak. A lot of players' careers have died down after making decisions or switching clubs. Players like Coutinho were doing so well and switching clubs ended their career, right? So someone like Osimhen, I'm an Arsenal fan, right? So when it comes to transfer, I don't trust Arsenal. I will tell you, I don't trust Arsenal.
You don't trust your club.
I don't trust them with transfer.
I think this is one fan that is actually saying the truth. It's some person who just want to praise their club.
No. When it comes to transfer, I prefer when a player is on a pitch wearing Arsenal jersey, and I'll be happy he's an Arsenal player because we've had several encounters. Let me give you a rundown. We've had encounters. Players like Eden Hazard was brought to limelight by Arsenal, was scouted by Arsenal. Player like Mikel Obi was scouted by Arsenal. Player like Juan Mata was scouted by Arsenal. They took in some money, reduced it, brought in a lesser one. Chelsea went and picked the player, and the player dealt with Arsenal in several matches. Players like Nuri Sahin.
So Chelsea is wiser than Arsenal.
I'm not saying they are wiser. I'm saying in terms of transfer.
But what you're saying, it means Chelsea is wiser than Arsenal. Forget about the fact that you're an Arsenal fan.
When it comes to transfer,
Chelsea is wiser.
Chelsea
Have you accepted?
Business.
Have you accepted?
Chelsea means business.
It's not
so they're taking the money and buy the player. For Arsenal, they'll have to be negotiating. Apart from the recent transfer market that they outdid or they exceeded our expectation. Previous transfer market has been has been annoying. Because the last one, they bought Declan Rice for over 100 million, and all of other players like that they brought in. The negotiations was not that long. So when it comes to Victor Osimhen, I don't see Arsenal anyway close to closing that deal.
All right.
Okay. Clubs like Chelsea can also go so far to close that deal because Didier Drogba, Kalu, and all of that are in the AFCON trying to convince him, trying to make him believe why he need to come to Chelsea. But at the end of the transfer, we'll definitely see
those are great legends. You know, those are great legends, and as a matter of fact, those are legends from Chelsea, of course. Talking about Didier Drogba. Well, as a matter of fact, this is where we will bring our Sport Rush to a close right now. You heard him; he said he's an Arsenal fan, and he talked about Chelsea. That Chelsea is not doing well. Then later on, he said, well, what Chelsea is doing is they pick good players, but Arsenal they don't know. Well, if you are a fan to any of these clubs, subsequently, we can be hosting you. Just drop a message for us in the comment section if you are within FCT and you want us to host you on the show. And we can talk about your own club too. All right, this is going to be the size of Sport Rush today. And it's a very beautiful one. Go out there and pray for the Super Eagles. Well, the permutation is on. Côte d'Ivoire, they are not coming to joke. Remember what happened. Côte d'Ivoire is not coming to joke. They are coming for the cup. They are coming for the $7 million. It's not a child's play. It's not a child's play. So all hands should be on deck. Pesero has promised. He has said, well, they will make it happen. This morning, I saw ex-internationals promising. Even the vice president, the federal government, everyone is promising, giving a full support to the Super Eagles. Let's see how super the Eagles will be as they take on Ivory Coast, which is the host. And that match is going to be coming up on Sunday. Well, as a matter of fact, whatever you do, that match is coming up on Saturday, I beg your pardon. No matter what you do, make sure you keep your fingers crossed and ensure that everything goes on fine. My name is Ramsey, and thank you very much, Fred Ogbole, aka Fred Mine, for coming on Sport Rush today. It's been beautiful with you, bro.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a beautiful day, and let's see what happens. I'll return back with more reports, and of course, anywhere, anyhow, anytime. Bye-bye for now.